the last video we went through the 10 roles of Cyberpunk Red and selected a fixer for our character. In this video we're going to generate a Lifepath. This is a flow chart of narrative details to help flesh out the character and provide possible plot ideas. There is a general and a role-based Lifepath. The general one includes cultural origins, which also gives you a native tongue. It also includes personality, your dress and personal style, your motivations and relationships, your original family background, the environment you grew up in, your family crisis, your friends, enemies and tragic love affairs, as well as your life goals. This provides entirely narrative information, but that can be very helpful in adding depth to an otherwise loose character concept. You can either generate a life path using dice, or you can decide the results based on an existing character idea. If you already have an idea set in stone, you don't need to detail every little thing from the life path. However, generating results can challenge your idea and help you come up with things you hadn't previously thought of, but that proves to be new and fun opportunities for plot hooks and stories. I know that I want to play a fixer, but I haven't decided on any of the details yet. Because of that, I'm going to generate a life path to help with the characterization. This is how I usually approach the life path and how I adapt the generated information into a character I want to play. First, we start with cultural origins. Because the world of Cyberpunk is multicultural and multinational, you can expect to come across people from all walks of life. You can easily play someone close to yourself and find a place for them in the setting, but you can also face the challenge of playing someone unlike yourself. By rolling on the cultural origins table, you generate a general cultural region that your character comes from, as well as a native tongue they might know. The native tongue is a skill that starts at 4. I decided to generate a random origin roll of 5, indicating Middle Eastern or North African. I decided my character is going to have her origins from Iran, and I name her Aisha Khan with the handle Mithra. Her native tongue is Farsi. I also decided to make the language I got from my fixer roll Arabic. The nightclubs she hangs out in are located in an area of Night City with a large Middle Eastern population. Next, we need to determine the character's personality. You may already have a personality in mind, but this table can help inspire characteristics you otherwise hadn't thought of. When I generated a personality for Mithra, I rolled an 8, indicating that she is sneaky and deceptive. I don't want to roleplay her as an outright sociopath, because that's no fun, so I'm going to interpret sneaky and deceptive as someone who values information and uses it effectively. Overall good traits for a fixer, but she can sometimes be seen as untrustworthy by contacts and clients, which comes back to bite her. The next step is to decide dress and personal style. Cyberpunk is very much a game about style and the rule of cool, and because of that, the way you express yourself is just as important as any other character trait. And because these are just narrative details, you aren't locked in on an outcome. What you generate here is only what you favor, not necessarily the way you express yourself every day and in every situation. Dress and personal style is divided into 3 categories: clothing style, hairstyle and affectations. For clothing style, I rolled a 5, indicating high fashion. This fits well, as Mithra is supposed to navigate the clubs of Night City, maybe acting as a link between the streets and the upper crust. She fits well into the nightclubs, designer jackets, glowing accessories, you name it. For her hairstyle, I rolled a 2, giving her long and ratty hair. A lot of hairspray, 80s fashion, maybe mixed in braids and collars. As for affectations, I rolled a 1, giving her tattoos. She's going to have full tattooed sleeves of pink flowers and golden suns that meet on her neck and across her back. The tattoos are going to pop with neon colors, pink and gold, to light up the dance floor. Now we're going to generate motivations and relationships. This is divided into what you value most, how you feel about most people, who you value most, and what possession you value most. As for what Mithra values most, I rolled a 6 for vengeance. As for how she feels about most people, I rolled a 2, indicating that she stays neutral. She may be deceptive, but she doesn't assume that all people are. She's willing to give people a chance to prove themselves before she's judging them. She tries to see both sides and understand both sides, because then she can be impartial about information and see its true value. When it comes to the person she values most, I rolled 7 for a teacher or mentor. Finally, I rolled a 3 on her most valued possession, indicating a piece of clothing. I decide that Mithra's vengeance is tied to her brother. A former smuggler was killed by some corpo's goons after a deal went wrong. Her most valued possession is her brother's jacket that still has the blood stains and bullet holes from his murder. She keeps the jacket on the wall of her home to remind her of what she has lost and to motivate her to keep moving forward. She's told herself that once she's had her vengeance, she's going to burn the jacket and finally move on. Her mentor is her brother's best friend Jackal, a man who has pushed her forward when she needed it and reined her in when she's moved too far. She calls on his support when things are hard. Now when we have defined who the character is, we need to determine how she got to where she is. The original family background table is used to generate what kind of background or place in society your family had. When determining where Mithra came from, I rolled a 7 for urban homeless. This means that she grew up homeless on the streets. I imagine that it was just her and her brother, which makes losing him so much harder. This fits into the next table, childhood environment, where I rolled a 1 and got ran on the streets with no adult supervision. Maybe she had to become sneaky and deceptive to survive. And maybe she's neutral towards people because she's assuming that everyone is just fighting for their own survival in their own kind of way. Finally, as for family crisis, I rolled a 7, which means that Mithra's family is involved in a long-term conspiracy, such as a crime family. Something made her lose her parents to begin with. Maybe they were involved in organized crime and got caught up in a conflict with some kind of corporation. She and her brother ended up homeless. She was protected by her older brother her entire life, but eventually followed their parents' footsteps, got back in business with some of their parents' old associates, and ultimately suffered the consequences. Generating friends, enemies and love affairs are a bit harsh, since the game asks you to roll 10 and subtract 7, giving you a good chance to not have any. I didn't get any friends, but I've already established a mentor as most valued person. I didn't get any enemies either, but I do have my vengeance. I decided to leave the details of that vengeance up to the GM, but I indicated I wanted to be tied to some kind of corporation. It could be a story hook in game to find out more about who is responsible. As for tragic love affairs, I rolled a 10, which gives me 3, so apparently I haven't been all alone. According to the Lifepath, one of my lovers was killed in a fight. I decided this lover was a woman with money issues and struggles with gambling. After having been accused of cheating in a game, she was killed. Another lover was a man who got fed up with my obsession for vengeance. We had an argument about my priorities and he broke up with me. Later I got together with another man who was a nomad. There were conflicts because we both wanted different things, and one day he simply got on his bike and drove away. Never saw him again. The final thing we're going to generate before we move on to the role-based life path is Mithra's life goals. Here I rolled a 3, indicating that my goal is to get off the street no matter what it takes. Based on the life path so far, we have come up with plenty of characterization. We have a deceptive character who was raised on the streets, now spends much time in nightclubs, wants vengeance on her brother's murderers, and wants to move up from the streets and into a better life. When we started out, we had all but a general idea of who this fixer could be. Now we have a character with history and depth. But we're not done yet. The character also gets a life path based on their role. For a rocker boy, this could help generate what type of artist you are and where you perform. For a solo, the life path could help determine what kind of jobs you're hired for. Because Mithra is a fixer, we can see what type of business she deals in. Here, I don't want to generate a result. Instead, I'm going to decide that she supplies several successful night markets, although not as owner. She's using the nightclubs to connect buyers and sellers, and she's taking a cut of the profit. After we have established what type of business, we need to decide if she has a partner or if she works alone. I was unsure here and decided to generate a partner to see what I got, with the option of working alone if I didn't like the outcome. As it happens, I rolled a 4, indicating a mentor, which makes perfect sense. Jackal, the mentor we established previously, is helping me manage this business. When choosing my office, we've already established that she hangs out in nightclubs. She'll have her own booth in a night city club called Limelight. When generating side clients, I rolled a 2 for local gangers who also protect your work area or home. I decide that this represents the gangers that frequent Limelight to ensure that I am protected during my business deals. If someone comes into the club to start trouble, I'll have gangers who know me and make sure I'm safe. Finally, I need to determine who's gunning for me. I tried to generate this but wasn't happy with what I rolled. Instead, I decided to choose the option that I have rival fixers trying to steal my clients. That's the full life path done. Now we have a character concept, a personality, a background, story hooks and scenes to roleplay in. As we move forward to the next part of character creation and to the next part in this 4-video series, we're going to add some stats and skills to start making the character playable. And like mentioned before, if you watch this video when it comes out, the next part is already up on Patreon and will be released on YouTube a couple of days from now. If you're watching this video in the future and the next video is already on YouTube, follow the link in the description to find it. Until next time.